Hi everyone, it's Genevieve from Kangaroo Time. Thank you so much for watching the recording of our webinar right now. At Kangaroo Time, we create software for childcare centers. We're an all-in-one solution that helps centers grow their business, connect with their families, and effectively manage their staff members. Our software will help you automate your entire business, including payments, billing, check-in and check-out for children, keeping track of staff hours. We also do classroom automation, and this gives your teacher prompts while they're in the classroom to update parents on feedings, diaper changes, and developmental milestones. And it really hardwires the parents into the early education experience, and they get a beautiful feed of content right on their smartphones. So if you're looking for billing and a payment solution, a parent app, or staff scheduling, contact Kangaroo Time today. Thanks so much and enjoy the webinar.
Hello. Oh, it's been so long since I've done this. Prerna, I used to do this. We used to do it twice a week during when COVID was really going and people had time. And then we went to once a week and now we're every other week, but I miss everybody. It's so great. We love doing this. All right, we'll get started in just a moment. Usually if you wait about 90 seconds, people will kind of join and we're locked and loaded. And Prerna, you said you're in Plano, Texas. Fun fact, it's snowing here right now in Buffalo, New York.
No, that's too late in the year for snow. It's Earth Day. You can't have snow on Earth Day.
That's right. Yeah. And the other thing is when I'm here, the time that I'm here, it's not allowed to snow, right? Like only when I go back to California is it supposed to snow here.
Right. You know, we had a crazy snowstorm. I'm sure you heard about it. It made world news. Texas doesn't know how to handle snowstorms, and it absolutely wiped us out for a week. We had no idea what to do. Electricity gone, water gone, heat gone, crazy.
And Rhonda, yeah, from Garland probably got hit too. Yeah, pipes busted. No, my family lives in Bedford. My family's in Bedford, Texas, and
yes.
And everybody kept saying that, no, our power didn't go out. We're right next to the hospital. So you heard that from a lot of people, but so many people's power went out. Hey, Elizabeth from San Diego. Awesome. See, Elizabeth's got it figured out with weather. Like it doesn't snow in San Diego. I don't think it's ever rains. It's just a bunch of happy tan people. They're just all happy and tan and sunbathed. But all right, I digress. We got some serious content to get to, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining us. We're so happy to have Prerna here with us and presenting content. But let me take care of a little bit of housekeeping first. So in case you don't know, my name's Scott Wayman. I'm the founder and CEO here at Kangaroo Time. I have the greatest job in the world. I'm kind of a slouch if you've ever been to my webinars, but I do one thing really, really well, and that's hire great people. And thank you to Genevieve and Marissa for setting this up and attracting and recruiting the best and brightest to do content for us. But a little bit about Kangaroo Time. We are a software company that creates beautiful software for childcare centers. And we really focus on helping those of you that are running businesses that help to build bodies, minds, and souls. We help you to focus on that. So all the billing, all the back-end office stuff, all the enrollment stuff, we do that for you. We recently launched some revolutionary features, including our subsidy billing tool, which it's world-class. If any of you are taking subsidies, call us, we want to help you. Also our staff scheduling platform. Just imagine what the software you're using, we do all that. And then plus you add in a staff management tool where employees can request their vacations and it keeps track of all that. And then a subsidy tool that understands when your subsidy checks are coming and how much you're getting, and a predictive dashboard. It is so beautiful. And I'm so proud of our team. So enough of the pitch. We're really here because at the beginning of COVID, Genevieve and I had this panic call. So many of you were hurting. On March 19th, I had my board meeting with our investors last year, and we were starting to look at the numbers, and I said, I don't know if our customers make it through this. This has been such a tumultuous couple of weeks, and I don't see the end of it. And our owners are scared, our directors are scared, our educators are terrified, and we don't know what's going on. And in the spirit of just doing something and serving our customers, we spun up the Kangaroo Time webinar series. And the first one we did, we had 3,000 people sign up because we put some content out there saying, hey, we're bringing an employment attorney on, and we're going to walk you through what to do with furloughing or laying off your employees. And then we brought on a specialist on the PPP, and then it just blossomed from there. And we kind of found our footing. And what we found is really great is when we bring on experts like Prerna to come in and just wax poetic with great content. So I'm really excited about this one. Prerna is a coach, a consultant, a trainer, and an international speaker. She has been in the early education field for the past 35 years. I don't believe it. You must have started when you were 2. Yeah. A majority of her experience was with NAEYC accredited programs. She is a registered master level trainer with Texas Early Childhood Development Professional Development System. She is also the winner of the Susan Hargrave Trainer of the Year Award by the TXAEYC in 2020. That's huge. Prerna, we're so glad to have you. Real quick, I forgot. And again, I'm a terrible host. Your microphones and cameras, we can't see you, we can't hear you. If you have a question, put them in the QA, the little QA button in Zoom, and either Genevieve, Marissa, or I will be answering in the background. And then if it's for Prerna, we'll wait until after, and she'll answer those questions. And then the recording, guys, it will be sent tomorrow when we send your certificates. So we will, if you registered properly and you are here, we will send your certificates, and you'll get a YouTube video along with that email. So today's discussion, we will discuss how directors can support all teachers in their centers to encourage executive function skills. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, Prerna, I do have a little touch of the ADD, and executive function is the quality that you must kind of address when you have ADD. So she's going to address executive function skills for all students from birth to 5 years old. God bless you. This is kind of something that's near and dear to my heart. I had intervention at an early age. My mom saw it, and we're going to talk about the overview of the brain states and how to create environments that help children master these. Thanks so much for joining us. And again, this one's so near and dear to my heart because I was one of these children. And if you haven't noticed, there's still some remnants there in my personality. So Prerna, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. I'll hand it over to you, but I'm going to stay here. And if I have any questions, I'll interject.
Please do. Thank you, Scott, for the invitation and the opportunity. And welcome everyone while I share my screen, and we will get going here. And let me just put this on the side. That way it's out of your way. I promise you won't. Let me know if this is down below. Is this enough? Is it blocking the PowerPoint, or are we okay?
Hey, Prerna, go ahead and you can hit the little button and expand it if you want, but if not, it looks okay. Yeah, there you go. That looks great. Okay,
cool. Let's get started then. And my name is Prerna Richards. You pronounce Prerna like you're praying. That's the easiest way to remember. And thank you, Scott, for this opportunity. I'm so excited to be here with you all. And welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't have some writing tools in your hands, I would definitely suggest please get them, because, this is brain fact. If you write something down, Even if you never look at it again, your brain has a capacity to remember just because you wrote it. And since today we're talking all about the brain, start with yourself and write it down as we go. Feel free to ask questions as we go through it. You don't have to wait to the end, uh, because if I'm talking about something and you want to make it relevant in your program, I am okay with taking questions if they're relevant to the topic. But of course, we have very short time. So, let's do our best and get started. All right, so here, by the end of today's session, successful participants will be able to do these 4 things. Describe the leader's role in creating the pillars of success in your programs. Label the 5 basic needs of the emotional brain and how that shows up for behavior, because behavior is directly connected to how children learn or not learn. And then we can list the specific skills that Scott was talking about, the executive function skills that children need to master to be successful in life, to be successful in their school. And it starts with the early years. And then I'll give you practical strategies to support curiosity and inquiry, which actually happen to be executive function skills in your programs. So far, so good. Let's do it. So before we do anything else, it's really important that we get oxygen in our brain. And the reason for that is it's a signal to the brain to get engaged. When we take a deep breath, our brain is like, okay, I can pay attention now, I can focus. So one of the things that you should write down somewhere in big bold letters, breathing intentionally throughout the day in your programs. Breathing intentionally throughout the day in your programs will help your teachers, will help your children, will help you to reduce stress, but also engage the learning. So here we go. So let's do the 3-finger breathing. And there's many, many ways of breathing. I always ask kids, so how should we breathe today? And whatever they say, if they say, let's breathe like a butterfly or a unicorn, I'll just say, show me how. And children can show you how. They can be creative. So let's do this one for right now. As you go up, you take a deep breath in, fill up your lungs, really feel the pressure in your lungs, and then you breathe out, get all the stress out. Here we go. The other one is a strategy for birthday candle. And with the birthday candle, you get to make a wish. So when you take the first birthday candle, you get to make a wish for yourself. So let's take the first birthday candle and make a wish for yourself. Second birthday candle, you get to decide for somebody else. So whoever comes in your heart, send them some good wishes. Here we go. And the third one, you get to decide, is it for yourself or for somebody else? Third one is your choice. Here we go. All right. So I hope you will do lots of breathings. When I was working in a program, I would just have a brain break. I would just call brain break, and whoever was in the hallway, they could just step 1 foot out while keeping 1 foot in the classroom, and we would just breathe, whoever would join us. And some children would join us, and it became like a school practice. So here are the 3 important pillars that are going to help you as a leader, as a director, as an administrator, in helping your program be the best, in helping your program to offer highest quality. The first one, I can't emphasize enough, it's all about relationships. Relationships with your teachers, relationship with individual children, relationship with individual families. The more you know about your families, the more you know about your staff, the more successful your program will be. The second one is social culture. What is the culture of your school? Do you encourage curiosity in your adults? Do you encourage questioning from your staff to you and vice versa? Do you hear that when you walk down the halls? Are you hearing people, but why are we doing that? How come we can do this? And can we do this a better way? Are you hearing that language? And if you're not, think about that. The children are not going to be open and free to ask and question if the adults are not. So if you want to really have brains engaged from an early age, we have to set the example by role modeling. I don't mean disrespect questioning. I don't mean insubordinate questioning. I just mean questioning in a safe place that, and why is it we're doing it this way? Is there a better way we can do this? Or is the answer, well, we've always done it like this? You know what I'm talking about? The other one is selecting this DAP. So let me break this word down. DAP curriculum, developmentally appropriate practice curriculum. When you're selecting the curriculum for your program, is it age appropriate and is it individual appropriate? Is it good for that 3-year-old classroom, but then is it good for that individual 3-year-old in that classroom? That's what makes it developmentally appropriate. And NAEYC has lots of good resources. If you go on naeyc.org, you can download lots of good resources for DAP. The next part is engaging environments. We know that environment is the third teacher, the teacher being one, the curriculum resource being the other, and the third is the environment. Is it set up in a way that encourages children to explore and experiment? Is it set up in a way that when children walk and make choices, they can self-direct play, they can self-initiate play? Is it set up in a way that children know where to put things back, or is it the teacher's job to always clean up? When you walk the hallways, are you hearing the teacher's cleaning up? She's singing the song, let's clean up, but is she the only one cleaning up, or are the children involved? So your role as a leader is when you observe, when you spend time in the hallways, when you spend time in the classrooms, when the children know you and you know them, that's when you know you are a visible, hands-on director. Program will show it. The third part of this success is regulated brains. By regulated, I mean, are the children calm, loved, safe, ready to learn? They cannot learn if they don't feel safe and loved. That's the state of the brains, right? That's just how brains are designed to learn. So let's take a deeper dive. So far, so good. Any questions? We're okay?
Hey, Prerna, I was just going to say, one of the pillars at our company when in regard to safety and having productive creativity, it includes not only the environment, the culture is so important. Things like do women feel safe? Do men feel like, do people feel like they're heard? And managing that environment's very similar to a classroom, and it's where you get cognitive optimization. It's really a great way to think about it. As I think so many of us are focused on quality in our classrooms, learning delivery, and really like what you're building looks and feels like, the flow, how parents perceive it. It also what helps the business, but at the core of it, it's important so children can learn.
100%. I think you framed it really well, how it flows and how people feel inclusive. I'm actually in part of a diversity study from the Florida University right now. It's a 7-week commitment, and every week we have 2 hours of session, and I did one today. And they really are going so core with how we are hiring, how we are inclusive. Does everybody's voice matter? Does everybody feel included? Inclusion is a feeling, it's an emotion. So yeah, to your point, do women feel safe? Do men feel safe? It's so key to how we run our programs. So thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. Our programs, universal design. So this UDL is a term that really allows your program to be universal access, which goes along with the inclusion that we're just talking about. Does your program adapt for learning styles? Are you familiar with the multiple intelligences? Are your teachers familiar with multiple intelligences? And are they applying it? Are they offering learning in various ways? Because we can engage the brain and we can help them to become curious and engage learners if they are not meeting their learning style. So if somebody has musical intelligence, you don't include that, the child feels left out. Even the teacher might feel left out. Do we offer a variety of materials? Are we changing materials in a way that allow for creativity, allow for imagination to happen? Ensure that there are many ways to participate with different learning styles, with different modalities. How are the children and the adults able to do their best learning? Do we offer choices, or is the toddler classroom doing art all at the same time? Are we all doing group work, or are we allowing children to freely choose during center time? I've heard center time, some schools, they'll say, okay, you go there and you go there and you go there. Now it's time to switch. That's not engaging the brain. That's very voluntold, right? So allowing children to have that space. So here's a little bit overview of the brain. And I don't want to spend too long with this because I want to just give you a quick overview so that we can all be on the same page when it comes to this. There's 3 parts to the brain. The first part is for safety. It's our survival brain. It's there to keep us safe. And the 5 F's show up if we're not feeling safe. We fight, we flight, we feel frightened, we freeze, somebody asks a question and we're frozen, or we tell fibs, the lies, That's the latest research. When children tell you little white lies, they're scared. And so quite often when the 5 F's show up, people start thinking, you're being disrespectful. They're not, they're just scared. Then the second part is the emotional brain. The emotional brain, no matter our age, whether we're little or grown-ups, full adults, it has 5 things. The purpose of it is to be seen, to be heard, to be loved, to be accepted, to belong, period. No matter the age. If I don't feel safe, if I don't feel loved, I'm not going to learn. The learning is what happens over here. The executive function is right over here. And in order to create learning environments, we have to recognize that the staff feel safe, that the children feel safe, that the parents feel safe, and then they feel accepted and loved and belong to your culture, to your community, to your school. So far, so good? Keep going. All right. Let me know if I need to stop for anything. So I know this is not a behavior session, and I know we have a behavior session coming up in the future in May sometime, but it's important to remember as a leader of an early childhood program that when you see challenging behaviors, it's a sign that the children are communicating. Behavior is a form of communication. Children don't say, I'm stressed out. They don't say, I've had a rough day. They act out. So if you're having lots of acting out behaviors, you need to go to the root cause and figure out what is it that they're trying to communicate. So as a leader, as a director, as a manager, be looking at your accident reports that are coming in. Is it too many? Is it from the same classroom? Is it, a pattern? What's going on? Unpack that. So understanding behaviors is key. And I love this statement, the more we connect, the less we correct. And attention-seeking behavior is a relationship-seeking need. And I have a quick acronym for it, KLFF. It stands for teachers should be kind, loving, firm, but fair. If teachers cannot be kind, loving, fair, and firm, then your classroom management doesn't work. But this is going to be the topic for our next future conversation. So let's dive into curiosity and inquiry and how do we support this? So these are the executive function skills. And in order for children to succeed, these are the part of the brain that needs to get wired. This is the executive function, the prefrontal cortex, and this is where these skills get wired. So the ability to listen, learn, and retain. And Scott started saying that, he suffered from ADHD. That is the wiring that gets loose here because they can't listen, learn, and remember. So that is what attention is all about. But I have a question if anybody wants to answer. What is the difference between attention and concentration? If anybody wants to put it in the chat, let us know. What do you think is the difference between attention and concentration?
So I'll give it a run. Please. I have no idea. I'm probably going to give you such a poor answer. So
no, please. Yes.
I think attention is access, right? Or attention is access. So you're giving something your access, and then concentration is more the focus or the but I'm probably totally wrong.
You're fine. You're on the right tracks. So you're on the right tracks because attention is whatever your eyes follow, whatever your ears hear, your attention goes to that. So if I see something, my attention goes to that. If I hear something, my attention goes to that. So attention is fleeting. It just goes wherever you look and whatever your senses tell you. Concentration is actually engaging your brain and staying focused on something so that you can put your full attention on that and not be distracted. So in the early years, we need to strengthen that muscle. That is the attention, that is the concentration. Also, part of the executive function skills is self-control. So having control on my arms, my legs, my mouth. So children, don't have self-control because they lack impulse control. And self-regulation. If I feel upset, do I go from 0 to 100 or can I regulate it? Can I bring it down from 100 down, or do I just have extreme barometer just going all over the place? So the thing about these skills is that this part of the brain wakes up around 3.5, 4 years old. It starts forming around that time. But what happens is the foundation is laid from infancy on. If we can help them through play, because through play is how children learn. And I just want to go out there and on a limb and say that play is enough. We don't have to qualify play with they play and they learn and they play but they were doing play is enough. If children are given enough chances to explore, experiment, spend time with something, get engaged with something, put their full attention in it, I promise you they will succeed in life because you're strengthening the foundation of the brain. So critical thinking, right? Understanding cause and effect. Critical thinking is also reflection. I do this, what can I do better next time? How do I learn from my mistakes? That's critical thinking. I push you, you push me, you take this, I do this. They're understanding cause and effect. Problem solving. So when you stick with something, when you don't give up, that's tenacity in action. That's perseverance. That's resilience. And I know that this last year has pushed us all to our limits of being resilient. Like we have all had to show up. We've all had to push through. We've all had to be tenacious. But what I think about that is you don't suddenly become a grown-up and be tenacious and perseverant, right? The foundation is laid in the childhood. So when children give up very easily and when they say, I can't, I need help, that's when you have to use the language of, you haven't mastered it yet. You haven't learned it yet. Don't give up. Giving up is not an option. So we do it with our words, we do it with our examples and the sense of wonder. So the session is called Instilling Curiosity and Inquiry. That starts with a sense of wonder. If we can encourage children to be curious about this, how does that work? How does it do that? Why does it do that? What's that about? You're actually engaging the brain, which then leads me to what can we do in our environment? How can we support our teachers so that the learning that's happening is actually the best for these executive function skills? That's really the heart of the conversation. What can we do that we can intentionally create environments and opportunities for children to be successful? So far, so good. Keep going.
This is so wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. My only thought here, Prerna, was yeah, that each of these are so nuanced, right? Like they all have like a really beautiful strike zone if done well, right? So with cortical thinking, understanding cause and effect, and then problem solving, tenacity and perseverance. So really being able to do that, and under indexing on one of these is obviously creates a skill deficit, but also over indexing or an obsession with one or the other. But I love how these all the description of executive function here, this brought it alive. This is great.
Thank you for saying that. So yeah, so if we do it right, we can set them up for success. But if we have a deficit, these are also the qualities that I think many of us are noticing are lacking in our children these days. They're very impatient. Their impulse control is not happening. And, in this 1 hour little webinar, I'm really skimming the tip of the iceberg. Normally I give a 3-hour session on this. We go deeper with this. We have examples of this, because we have got to do something intentional, because more and more children are lacking these skills right now. And I feel like adults can't give to the children what they don't have themselves. So, we can't expect a teacher who's not tenacious herself to teach that quality. So she has to learn it, so then she can show up for the children. Our field is so important. We're changing brains, but we're influencing the rest of the life. There's no swap your brain. There's no upgrade your brain shop. It doesn't exist. Like with our phones, we can change them often. The brain that we have as early childhood is the brain that we have for the rest of our life. So it's so critical to not have a deficit, to not have these qualities not be strengthened for every child in our program. That's just unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable. All right, so here we go. As you're doing your observations, as you, the leader, are walking around the programs, try to observe different classrooms at different times. Try to do so many observations that you're not an intrusion. So people don't feel like, oh, I'm being judged. Oh, she's here writing. Do so many observations that the children are comfortable with you, teachers are comfortable with you, and share your observations freely. Don't write notes. You make people very nervous when you walk in, then you write notes and then you leave, and then the teacher's like, was everything okay? We don't need to stress people out, right? Because we're going to put them in their survival brain. We want to keep them in their learning brain. Don't scare people, but come from the approach that if I can support my teachers, if I know what to look for, then I can, when I do observations, I can look for those things and I can support my teachers. That's what this is. This is really specific things that you should look for when you're doing classroom observations. For the first one is CAT model. There are so many acronyms. My brain is absolutely fried with all these acronyms. But if you can remember one more, CAT is really very good. So the C stands for curiosity. Are the teachers creating curiosity with the children before they do an activity? Are they getting them engaged? So one of the simplest ways to get children engaged is asking this question, guess what? And I guarantee you they'll fall for it every single time. Guess what? Do you know what? Guess what? I have something to tell you. Immediately you have their attention. So creating questions that make children curious. That's a little brain connection going ding. They pay attention. The next one is anticipation. So if the children already know that, okay, we do small groups and then we do math and we do language and we do science, and if some of them resist it, change it up. It's the anticipation. Oh, today our circle time is going to be outdoors. Now I've just completely changed the anticipation. I've engaged your brain because it's out of the routine. It changes the routine and it gets the brain engaged. Time sensitive. Teachers need to be very sensitive, and the directors need to make sure that your schedules and your routines are not driving the children and the teachers crazy. Are you shuttling them too often? Are you keeping them too long with something? So these are the things you want to be looking for as you observe. Be on the lookout that, am I hearing curiosity being piqued? Am I seeing anticipation? Are the children excited and engaged, or have they tuned the teacher out? And are their teachers being time sensitive, age sensitive, that, a 2-year-old can't sit in a circle time for 30 minutes. That's unrealistic. So let's look at our schedule. Let's look at what's the problem. Then the fine motor hand-eye coordination. I cannot talk enough about this because this is the key to engage the part of the brain right here. Right here, from our pincers, there are nerves running from here all the way up your arm, up to the eyes right here. If we want this part of the brain to be engaged, and remember, this is the executive function, this is where the learning happens, right behind our eyes, right between our ears. We have got to use lots and lots and lots of opportunities for them to use these fine muscles and their eye-hand coordination. It's a direct link. If you're seeing lots of teachers giving lots of open opportunities during center time, during small group time, they're using tongs, they're using tweezers, they're using grasping the basters, then you know your program is doing a good job with enhancing fine motor hand-eye coordination, sensory exploration. So I know I've put 6 senses there. Does anybody want to take a stab and guess which is the 6th sense? Of course, the touch, the sight, the hearing, the smell, the taste. What's the 6th one that could help with learning? Any guesses? Anybody? Okay.
While we're waiting for answers, the I see dead people 6th sense is probably a bad joke, but
No, that is not what we're looking for.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Shot
All
in the
right.
dark. Shot in the dark. Smell.
Yeah, we got all the basic 5s. We got the basic 5. The 6th one is your sense of balance. It's your vestibular. It is right between your. What were you going to say, Scott?
Yes, vestibular, or like your yes, that sensory of being able to stay on your feet and not feel unstable.
Yeah, the balance, the sense of balance is wiring for the sense of balance happens between our ears, behind our eyes, exactly where the learning wiring happens. So the more we can let children roll, tumble, spin, that'll activate that part of the brain. And
Prerna, just a real quick comment there. Just oftentimes in aging, you will hear, it's a really bad sign when somebody becomes elderly and their gait starts to suffer. And yeah, that means the vestibular health is definitely being compromised. And in early learning development, it's definitely something to keep track of. So it's very fascinating.
Yeah. So what's really fascinating about this sense is it's like a secret sense. We're not using it enough. And when you allow children to roll, if you're lucky enough to have your program which has little hills with safe guards around it, and the children roll on it, or if in a circle time there were 10 in the bed and the little one said roll over, like silly stuff like that, you're actually helping the brain to become strengthened and engaged. So simple tricks, I'm sharing stuff that is practical and simple that you can start looking for as you do your observations. So yeah, when we use, this is another fun fact about senses. If activities are engaging more than 3 senses, so if I can touch something, hear something, and see something, and then if I'm playing with rice and I'm measuring cups, right? If I have a sensory bowl and I have some rice in it, colored rice in it, and I have some measuring cups and spoons and I'm pouring, I can see, I can touch, I can feel. But if I add a little bit of rose oil or lavender oil in it, I can now smell it. So 3 or more senses. So write that down somewhere, really important. If the activity has 3 or more senses, you're waking up the brain, period. And the reason why it's important to know when the brain is woken up is because more neurons light up. More neurons make a connection when it's 3 or more senses. So think about it. There's 6 senses, and if I could use 3 or more for every activity I'm offering, how many opportunities am I allowing for the children to wake up their brain? This is again research-based, and if I could just indulge me for a minute to share research. I know this is a little bit off topic, but I think it's important to understand. So they did brain scans from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, and 2010 was the last one. So every decade they did a brain scan of 10-year-olds. And when they did the brain scans for the 70s all the way to 2000, what they saw was the entire brain was lit up. Like it had lights and colors. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've seen the brain scans, it all lights up. So from 70s to 2000, the entire brain was lit up. From 2000 to 2010, there was a drastic change. This part of the brain was black, completely black. It's not making any neuron connections. And guess what? That was around the time that we got devices put in our children's hands. So when we are scrolling up and down, this way and that way, they're not making any brain connections, period. So if I was to ask somebody, what was your childhood like? Did you spend time outdoors? What do you think people would say?
Yeah, again, and Prerna, another thing is, the world of like the model of parenting has changed. I know I grew up as a child of the 70s and 80s, and I think my mom would yell out the back door, yeah, it's time to come home. And then I see, my kids, definitely not outside as much for sure. But absolutely, there's been a change in the environment of growing up and being a child.
Yep, 100%. So I think we had the same mother. My mom said the same thing. Stay out till the street lights come in. Don't come inside till then. So we have to think about that. The environment has changed. Parenting has changed. These children are spending their childhood in our programs. Think about that. If we don't do something intentionally that is going to wake up their brain when they're in our programs, we have missed an opportunity. We have missed an opportunity to give them the best start in life. So I share these practical strategies to rethink, to look at your program and see, okay, what am I doing and what am I not doing? How can I wake up the brain and make connections more? The other one is the feet-eye coordination. So we talk a lot about the hand-eye, but we don't talk so much about the feet-eye. So here's an example of how you can do that. Take a ball, a tennis ball, wrap a yarn on it, and let the child hold the yarn, or make several if you have a class. You don't want to be fighting over it, and give the children the yarn, and then ask them to kick the tennis ball with their right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, and play a game. That is so much harder than it sounds. That is complete body coordination, by the way. So the other things are loose parts. I know this has become a common word these days. Loose parts are anything around the classroom, around the home, that is open-ended, that allows the children to be creative, be imaginative, to develop, to create. And remember, a minute ago, we were talking about problem solving and cause and effect. That's what will happen when they have uninterrupted, child-directed, child-initiated time to explore how to build, how to make something fall down. Mud, dirt, water are the best, best, best open-ended toys. The other thing you want to be seeing in your classrooms, like I mentioned before, is breathing. The more they breathe, the more they're engaging the brain. And remember, everything we're talking about today is intentionally creating neuron connections. That's it. That's at the heart of this conversation. The more mindful we can become, the more intentional we can become, the more chances we can give our children to strengthen that muscle. So far, so good. Should I keep going?
Excellent. Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, no comments came in. Now I'm going to share some real life examples of what this looks like. And when you're doing classroom observations, what should you be seeing? Starting from your infant classroom, a high chair is an exploration chair. Write that down somewhere. High chair is not just for eating. If you're not seeing exploration happening on your high chairs in your infant classroom, missed opportunities. The first one is Jello, and this has beads in it. And I know, before you yell at me, yes, the bead in the Jello was done intentionally. There was an adult right there, and the exploration was happening because the textures are different. So when you play through Jello and then you come to the bead, immediately the brain is like, there's anticipation, there's curiosity. What? It feels different. And when I did this, these, by the way, are my grandchildren. When I did this, my daughter was standing right next to me, and she's a teacher. And she was so funny. She had a reaction. She said, "Oh, did you put a bead in there? No, don't put a bead in there." Oh, she could choke. And I said, "I am right here. I am right here. I've raised you. I think I can raise her." So don't let safety be the reason why you don't bring exploration to your environment. Do it safely, but don't limit them from exploring. The second one is edible paint. We're mixing primary colors. And again, do you see her engagement, how engaged she is in the brain? Because she's processing. This texture feels different. Her brain is all like figuring it out. What's going on? The last one is eyedroppers. Again, very intentionally, we're strengthening this muscle from an early age. And so, think this, think the brain. All right. If it has been in the hands, it is in the brain. Period. Worksheets don't wire the brain. Just like technology doesn't wire the brain, It's very passive. Worksheets look good and you can show parents that you're doing worksheets, but it's not engaging the brain. You could teach any concept better if it was hands-on versus doing a worksheet that you've killed the forest for. And I've had lots of people say, but they need writing practice. Yes, they need writing practice. Let's do chalk. Let's do painting. Yes, they need all the practices, but let's do it in an age appropriate way. Let's do it in a developmentally appropriate way. This one, the first one, is again problem solving. This is black chart paper, and the teacher drew chalk shapes, and she put a whole bunch of beads out there, gems out there. And the children were free to explore. She didn't tell them put the same color. She didn't tell them to match the shapes. They did it. They were problem solving. This was all child led. She just created the environment. She just offered it. In the middle is a 2-year-old classroom. The children in this classroom were 2.5. It was right after Valentine's. I was in this classroom that day, and she brought roses out, and the children ripped up the rose petals and they put it in with the Play-Doh. And it was beautiful because then there was a sense of roses. So it activated more parts of the brain. This one is just a nature walk. And we put duct tape with the sticky side out. And whatever she collected, she was making her treasure. She actually called it, we're going on a treasure hunt. I said, we're going on a nature hunt. And she said, no, we're going on a treasure hunt. And then she made a headband with like a crown, and she had a bracelet. So exploration with nature, exploration with touching different textures, that's all what's waking up the brain. Any questions coming in? Can't see, so I'm hoping it's okay so far.
Just a bunch of amens, Prerna. Just like a bunch of amens.
Oh, yay. That makes my heart happy. It's my right tribe. Okay, great. So I hope you'll get some new ideas if you're already on the right space. Again, neurons that wire together, fire together. And this is the start of curiosity, intrigue, and sense of wonder. In the first picture, it's a sponge with baby soap. Put a towel and put some Lego pieces. There was so much discovery that happened, the dumping, the pouring, the figuring out, and all safe play. In the center is sticky paper, like contact paper with the sticky side up. And she was barely crawling at that time. And we did it with her feet. We did it with, let her explore with her hands. And there was such a sense of wonder when she lifted her foot and it wouldn't come off, or she looked at her hand. You can see the brain being engaged. Again, these are simple things, Dollar Tree things, not expensive, but being intentional. This is the vegetable strainer with pipe cleaners. Again, each of the textures was different on the pipe cleaners. And we were just saying, can you find the pink one? Can you find the yellow one? She didn't know the colors, but it didn't matter. We were labeling as she was going. All right. So how are we doing with time? We're okay so far? I have a few more to share. Here's
Yeah,
some
we got 11 minutes.
I got to talk fast. Okay. So you see, I'm passionate about this topic. I can just keep going. Cause and effect is the foundation for problem solving. When you have a texture board, different things do different things on it. That's when they cause and problem. I do this and this happens. By the way, cause and effect doesn't come from battery toys. There's no engagement with the brain when you just push something and a sound comes or a word comes. The next one is cornstarch. And here's another example of feet coordination. So there were marbles in the kiddie pool and she had to pick it up with her toes and put it in a cup. That's again feet-eye coordination. Problem solving causes synapses to happen. Play-Doh, again, is open-ended. The second one in the middle is a Velcro bell, like you get for Christmas time. I put it around her anklet and she was trying so hard to take the Velcro apart. The old-fashioned zips and buttons and things to use our fine motor. Self-help skills, by the way, you want to see lots of self-help skills happening. Comparing and contrasting. So the middle is Gloop and the last one is science experiments. And the tools to use are your tools you find in your kitchen, in your garage, in your bathroom, anywhere where they can explore something, where they can figure out that, oh, when I do this, or this is hard, this is soft, like lots of comparing, contrasting going on. All right, so this is some fun ways to get their attention. You should not be hearing teachers saying, put a bubble in your mouth. Bubble in your mouth is not emotionally respectful. But if teachers have call and recall, if you want to take a picture of this, you're welcome to. Hocus pocus, everybody says, students say, everybody focus. So using words to get their attention rather than catch a bubble or DuckTales or don't talk, not very brain engaging. All right, now I'm going to bring it all together because we don't have much time left. And so the role that you play as a leader, as a director is key. Understand and let your staff understand that the brain is getting wired birth to 5. 90% of the wiring. And I said it before, but I'll say it again. There's no swap your brain. There's no exchange your brain. The brain that you have in early childhood is the brain for the rest of our life. So we have an important job. And so the wiring happens with new experiences. The expectation you should have of your teachers is, are you bringing in new things for them to experience? Or are you just recycling what's convenient for you? It's a muscle. We should strengthen it. When pathways are being created, it's intentional. I'm going to leave you with a short story about what a pathway looks like. So Scott, if you were at the beach right now, I would love to be at the beach right now. If you were at the beach right now and you were walking on the sand, what would you be leaving behind you?
My footprints.
Exactly.
And probably some shame and guilt about how I looked in my swimsuit, but we'll go there.
Okay, we won't focus on that. The footprints is what's being left behind you. When the waves come, what happens to your footprints?
They get smeared or washed away.
Yeah. Now, if you're walking in wet sand, what is happening to your footprints? Will they stay there longer?
Yes.
That's it. That's a pathway. So when we do new experiences, when we make intentional chances for neurons to make connections, we're leaving a pathway in the brain. We're creating a hook for somewhere for the information to hang. So instead of it just being washed over, it leaves an imprint. And that's what part of all the executive function of it is. So if you are a director right now, here's next steps. You've heard this session, now what, right? Now what, so what? This information is only as good as what you do with the next steps. So ask yourself this question. Has your team received the right training as it relates to brain development, sensory processing, and multiple intelligence? If not, then reach out to a trainer who could do this for you. We can't expect teachers to do something that they don't have the knowledge for and resources for. And the next thing, understand that change is hard, but recognize that change can be made. Once you know better, you do better. You have to be patient and you have to coach your teachers. And there's this whole thing that I do on, helping people to change and identify the fears and barriers and break it down to get change happening. But we have to start with somewhere and say, okay, I can improve. I'm not there yet. And what can I do? And get the buy-in from the teachers. Okay, so I spoke a lot, and I think part of it I went really fast. I apologize. The time was very limited. If you could write one word in the chat, how are you feeling right now after this session? I will keep an eye on the chat just to be engaged. So what are you feeling right now? Give us one word of how you're feeling right now. Okay, great. Energized, empowered, enlightened, motivated, inspired. Fantastic, fantastic. Smarty pantish. I love it. I love the sense of humor. So if you like what you heard, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Together We Grow. Or if you would like a 30-minute free consultation, reach out to me on togetherwegrow.online and set up a 30-minute free consultation. You have nothing to lose. And if I can help you with some training or coaching, I'll be happy to do it. And, the good news about the Zoom now is that you can practically consult, coach from anywhere in the world, which is pretty exciting. I know I spoke really fast. So if there's questions, bring it on. Let's hear it.
Yeah, and well, Prerna, I'll start out with my question. We would love to partner with you and help you promote your 3-hour session.
Oh, thank you.
We would love to do that in tandem with you. I am such a fan of the amazing content here. And I'll say this too, I noticed that when you showed the slide about the classroom environment, we work so hard to create a culture of kindness. And the one word that describes me, I put smarty pants ish. No, I feel like I'm kind of benefiting from your kindness. So
Oh,
thank you so much.
thank you for saying that. You know, empathy and compassion are two qualities that I feel like we can always get better. And kindness comes when we are more empathetic and compassionate. And there's so much we can learn from each other. So thank you for saying that. I think it's true. We do need to make our programs kind and empathetic, compassionate, and children will be fine. You know, children will be fine and adults will be fine if we can create that environment.
Yeah, another thing that I took from it was just a relentlessness to be a great caretaker and to be a, you know, just somebody that builds an environment that's full of the best of intentions and a wonderful place. But thank you so much. We look forward, and Prerna, we've both been like orbiting around each other. So it's so fun to do our first thing together.
No, I'm so excited. Yes. And if there's anybody out there listening who needs support, don't hesitate. You're not alone. Reach out. Somebody can help you. You know, you're not alone. This is the good part about early childhood world. There's always somebody who's willing to help.
We'll follow up with the email tomorrow. And just a real quick as I close, this is where I express my gratitude for all of you that are here. But a couple of quick things. So over the next month, we have 4 webinars. So we'll be featuring Danny Christine on May 4th, May 12th. We have Latrice Crawford. Prerna, you're coming back on 5/19.
I'm
That's
so
awesome.
excited. I'm so excited. And that one, we're talking about challenging behaviors. By the way, I did have a resource for today's session. If anybody wants a free download, I don't know if Genevieve has put it up earlier. I wasn't paying attention, but if you put it again, yes, download a free resource with more ideas for inquiry and curiosity. Yes, I'm coming back in May. Thank you for that. I'm excited.
Yes, it's awesome. And then on 5/27, we have Alita Mechtel too. So you talk about superstars of early education. I see somebody in the comments put that they're a student and they're loving this. Yes, if you want to glean information from the rock stars of early education, we've been so blessed and fortunate to partner with folks like Prerna. But guys, we're gonna go. This was such an awesome session. This one will resonate with me for a long time. I wanted to extend my thanks to all of you that showed up, and we love you guys. We love you so much, and we thank you for the support. And if there's anything we can do to bring you more content, reach out. Genevieve and Marissa are hard at work putting together content and opportunities like this. But we love you. We love you, Prerna. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for running an amazing organization. I can just feel the heart is in the right place. And that's what it's all about. Thank you.
That's the greatest compliment. Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys.